Well, you may have thought that the St. Louis University saga was over now that my much protested event was already held, and that's all in the past now. But that doesn't appear to be the case. We are reminded that the administration officials there, and the ones who run most of these leftist universities, are not only partisan, but also vindictive and petty. Just really bad people. They hold grudges. They seek to punish students who run afoul of them ideologically, and they'll grab hold of any pretense, however superficial or facile it might be, in order to do that. Which brings us to SLU student James Dowling, who faces the possibility of expulsion from school for hanging flyers advertising my event 2 weeks ago. And it gets even more absurd than that. So this is from the Daily Signal. It reports, St. Louis University is threatening to expel or suspend a student for posting flyers advertising the Daily Wire's Matt Walsh's off-campus speaking event, according to the Young America's Foundation. The student, James Dowling, was told in a December 9th video conference with school administrators that he could face expulsion for his inappropriate conduct and, quote, failure to comply, according to YAF. Dowling, a member of the St. Louis University College Republicans group, was putting up flyers advertising Walsh's off-campus event on December 1st when nearby SLU administrators, uncomfortable with the presence of SLU's name on the same flyer as the SLU College Republicans, told him to take them down, according to YAF. Dowling reportedly offered to cross out the names on the flyers with a marker, but the administrators wouldn't accept the compromise. Now, the thing to keep in mind here is that my event was off campus and the flyers were also off campus. So this is an off-campus event where the advertising is also happening off campus, which means that it's entirely outside of the jurisdiction of the university narcs who came to harass James Dowling. It has nothing to do with them. Outside of their jurisdiction. They are not police officers. They have no right to tell anyone what they can or cannot do off campus, especially when the offense is simply hanging a flyer. And not an offensive flyer either, by the way. There was nothing on the flyer. There was no offensive imagery. Just a picture of me, which, maybe some people would say is offensive imagery, but just a picture of me and then saying what event it is, and that's it. Really standard flyer. Back to the article. It says, in a letter dated December 9th, the SLU Office of Student Responsibility and Community Standards sent Dowling a letter detailing his alleged breaches of SLU's community standards. The letter also noted that Dowling would be required to attend a hearing for his suspendable violations. This is yet another case of politically motivated prosecution by the Office of Student Responsibility and Community Standards. SLU College Republican President Nicholas Baker said in a statement shared with the Daily Caller, after dealing with them when they went after the club for asking another organization, the SLU sluts, to define the word woman, and learning that the office's director distributed copies of the gender-bread person to students a few years ago, I have no confidence in their ability to be fair and objective in their decisions. So that's from the Daily Caller. And then YAF over on YAF's website, they have a little more information on this. So this is what they say. Listen to this. During the call with the administration officials, Dowling was informed that he was being charged with both failure to comply and inappropriate conduct. According to the Office of Student Responsibility and Community Standards Assistant Director William Bowie, he was allegedly confrontational, disrespectful, and failed to comply with reasonable requests made by the staff in accordance with their duties. Now, Dowling did contact the city to make sure that where he was hanging the flyers, that it was in fact off campus. It was city property and not university property, and turns out that it was city property, not university property. I don't have them with me, unfortunately, because they won't let you go through airport security with large, sharp knives. But I want to tell you about Kamikoto knives. Kamikoto taps into more than 800 years of traditional techniques from Honshu, Japan. Each Kamikoto knife goes through a rigorous 19-step process that takes several years from start to finish to complete. And when you have these knives, you can tell that there is that much time put into making them. Because of their single bevel edge, Kamikoto knives can achieve an unbelievably sharp edge that you just can't get with other knives. They can cut through your ribeye like butter. Kamikoto knives are used by several chefs working at Michelin star restaurants. So click the link below or go to kamikoto.com/Matt Walsh and use promo code Matt Walsh to save an extra $50 today. So the real claim against Dowling is that the flyers make mention of St. Louis University. Now, I'm highly skeptical that they have the authority to tell students that they can't write the name of the school on a piece of paper and tape it up somewhere off campus. I'm skeptical that they have that authority. But even if they do, even if they can tell you that, he offered to cross out the offending phrase anyway. That wasn't good enough for them. And besides, pretending that this was some kind of violation and that the student hadn't offered a reasonable compromise. Let's pretend that for a second. Expulsion? Really? Yeah, that's the penalty he was explicitly threatened with. On the call with the administration, this William Bowie person said to him, if you were to be found responsible for a policy violation, suspension or expulsion from the institution are included within the range of possible outcomes that could be applied. Of course, these people can never speak like real human beings. Everything is communicated in bureaucratic parlance, but that's beside the point. Keep in mind that earlier this year, members of this SLU Sluts organization, this group, again, that's their name for themselves. It's not my name for them. Although, as I've said, if the shoe fits, wear it, you know. But members of that group tore down an approved pro-life display on campus because they didn't like it. There's a pro-life display that had been approved. It was on campus, and these self-described sluts went over and tore it down. That's an actual crime. That's an act of vandalism. Nobody involved in that vandalism has been threatened with expulsion, so far as I know. So this is quite clearly politically motivated. These are power-tripping bullies, still angry that I managed to have such a well-attended event despite their best efforts, and now they're taking it out on some random kid who lacks the resources to fight back and defend himself. This is a classic bully maneuver. By the way, the article on YAF's site mentioned something that I thought was a good point. Whatever happened to the great concern everyone supposedly has for mental health and well-being? That's the whole reason that Simone Biles was just awarded Athlete of the Year, right, by Time or whatever it was, because she's now a spokeswoman, a mascot for mental health, and mental health is so important. Now, this is not the main takeaway here, perhaps, but it is worth pointing out that most of the stuff we hear about mental health is nonsense. At least the people pretending to care about it don't. Hanging expulsion over a kid's head because he put a flyer up off campus is, among other things, an assault on his mental health. Imagine what kind of stress and anxiety that might induce. And to top it all off, this is apparently finals week. So you've got that stress on top of it. Well, as always, when these people talk about mental health, they mean it in a very qualified way. They care about the mental health of their tribe, of their ideological comrades. But a kid who has signaled that he's an enemy by associating himself with me, well, he can go to hell. We'll kick him out of school. Let's cause him immense hardship for no reason at all. And that's what getting expelled from college is. It's no small thing. That can haunt you for your whole life, potentially. So let's do that just because we can, to punish him for thinking differently. Now, this is not mere bias in my mind. This is evil. And I can tell you one thing. I'm not going to stand for that. SLU has already seen what an enormous pain in the ass I can be, and they don't know the half of it. Because I can hold a grudge too, and I can be petty and vindictive too. I think I've demonstrated that. If I've demonstrated anything, it's that. So if they move forward with trying to expel this student, they're going to have many more headaches in the future to deal with. I promise you that. So just leave this kid alone, you damned sociopaths. Well, I hope you enjoyed that clip from the Matt Walsh Show. If you did, go ahead and hit that subscribe button right down there so you can stay up to date on all of our future content.